every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Did You Know Show with host Bryant Green, right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Celebrating Black excellence worldwide and bringing joy and power to the people. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app. The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on Word Radio do not necessarily reflect those of the ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people. Write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that?
What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hey there. Hello, family. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Welcome to Hump Day, Wednesday, January 10th, that is, of 2024. Y'all, this year feels like it's flying by already. How are we in the second week? I feel like we just said happy new blessings and happy new beginnings. In any event, we're close to the second week, well, close to the end of the second week of the new year. And I hope that all is coming along well with you and for you thus far. How'd you make out yesterday with the storm? How did you make out? You know, I want to know that you are well. And I want to know that all is coming along well for you. I say that to you all the time because I mean it. And because it's true. To those of you who were affected, to those of you who lost power, I really, really, really hope that the pieces are all being put back in place quickly and effectively for you. I really do. I really do. So, family, are you having a great day on purpose? I hope you are, especially our love bugs that are celebrating a birthday on today. Happy birthday to each and every one of you that is doing so. Family, listen, as I was just saying, we're coming up on the weekend. Well, I've got something to share. Join Word in partnership with Global Citizen and the Greater Philadelphia Martin Luther King Days of Service for the largest King Day service event in the nation as we broadcast live from the Girard College Armory on Monday, January 15th, 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our very own beloved Solomon Jones will be our host for this signature broadcast featuring information, solutions, special guests, and more. Keep it locked right here on Word Radio for more information. I've been asking you a question about Cafe Mocha. For those of you who are saying, what is that? Well, I'm going to tell you. You know that I am. Cafe Mocha Tune in to Cafe Mocha every Sunday from 8 until 10 p.m. Cafe Mocha is radio from a woman's perspective. Check out the flavor from the hosts, comedian and actress Lonnie Love, hip hop legend Yo Yo, and broadcast veteran Angelique Perrin, as they all bring their own point of view to today's issues, social commentary, celebrity interviews, and self help advice. All of this is wrapped in soundtracks from urban contemporary music. Family, that's Cafe Mocha. Sundays at 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. only on Word, Progressive Black Talk Media. You know what I like to do as we get started, family. If you are joining us by way of social media, let us know. Please do so. Share a comment or a few. You can even give us a call. Yes, you can. You can do that by dialing 215 634 8065. You can even call us toll free at 1-866 361 0900. I tell you all the time that Nick and I love the love that you share, and we will take it any way you care to share it. And to our family members joining us whose hearts are heavy today, just know that I am sending you extra love and hugs on behalf of your entire tribe and village right here. I sure am. Just so that you know that you are not alone, and you do not have to feel like you are doing this by yourself, because you're not. You've got us. You've got us. All right, family, let's get started. We're going to have a great conversation tonight that I cannot wait for you to join. We have our beloved who is returning to talk with us tonight. Y'all, you've heard me say in the past that she's such a love bug. I just love her to pieces. And I've told her that, so she knows it too. But Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden, who is a graduate of Lincoln University, the first degree granting institution of higher education for Blacks in the United States, by the way. She is a board certified African centered Black psychologist, and she's the immediate former president of the Delaware Valley Association of Black Psychologists. That's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? But she's here to talk with us about everything under both umbrellas of love and life, with a few specifics, okay? Family, I invite you to the conversation with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. Hello there, beautiful.
Sawubona. A new word for you. It's a Zulu word that means I see you in your divinity.
Oh, how do I spell that, Dr. Gooden?
SAWUBONA.
Sawubona.
Sawubona. And your response would be Yebo Sawubona, which means I see you see me in my divinity.
Yebo Sawubona.
Oh, you sound like you might be Zulu. Sounds good.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's a compliment.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. I'm Yoruba, by the way. I'm Nigerian.
Now, is that was that information passed to you from your family, or was it information that you found?
No, I actually found out through the DNA testing. But it was real interesting because when I was an undergrad student at Lincoln, actually a little bit before Lincoln, an African student told me that I looked like an Ayo, which is how I ended up eventually changing my name and taking on a Nigerian first name. It means joy. And, sometimes our family come back to claim us. Mm-hmm. So I had claimed my Nigerian heritage before I knew that it was officially part of my heritage.
Wow. See, that it was in your spirit. It was innate. Yes. Oh, wow. I love that. I love when that happens as well. Mm-hmm. So how have you been?
Super great. I'm always super great. I've been blessed. I'm, as they say, when you're kicking still above ground, it's a good day.
It sure is. It sure is. Did you have a quiet transition into the new year?
Well, quiet is relative. You know, I work almost every day, so I saw clients, but the beginning of the new year is always a wonderful time because my husband's birthday is the 4th of January. So we got to just chill out and be together and do family. And I love that. That's for me the best thing in the world, being with my family, my husband, you know, my sons, my grandbabies, and their partners. So, you know, having my daughter-in-laws, it's just wonderful.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. Family, listen, family to me is everything. So that sounds
Yes,
absolutely
it
wonderful.
is. That makes
Before, oh, I'm so sorry, Dr. Gooden.
no, go ahead.
Before we get into the subject matter about which we are going to speak, I would love to know how Black Love Partners is coming along.
Oh, it's coming. We've got some fantastic things coming up in the future. I'm actually going to be connecting with some other Black psychologists, and we're doing a singles and a married couples cruise coming up
Oh,
this year. Two, one for training Black mental health workers, and one for the individuals who want to learn how to enhance their love relationships. And Black Love Partners will be planning an event in the future that will be designed to help provide access to high quality partners. So
oh, wow.
we're working. We stay busy.
It sounds like you stay busy. This is just one thing that you do. You stay
That's
extremely busy, but I love it. I love it. So, family, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome, 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 welcome. You're tuned in. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We are talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. And we're talking about love, family. We really, really are. I do want to share that some of our family members are checking in. Hey there, Smitty. Smitty is joining us and he shares, hello, everyone. And Renee Nacy is joining us as well and sends love. And we send it right back to you. Brother Malcolm White. Hey there, Brother Malcolm. He shares that he's watching and listening from West Mount Airy. Good evening to you, too. We so appreciate you joining us. And thank you for my message because you know I look for it every day. Cheryl Brown. Hey there, beautiful. She is joining us and she's sending peace, blessings, and love to everyone, as is Brother Nasir Butler, that is. He shares peace and blessings as well. And you know we share that right with you all. So, Dr. Gooden, you're here to speak with us about some specific things. Well, actually, I guess I should say the conversation start with something specific. The first of which is the pros and cons that come with online dating.
ah. Well, you know, one of the best things about online dating is that you can stay home and shop. Now, we're really getting into that after COVID. People like to stay home, but that's the whole purpose of online dating, being able to look for someone and hopefully find someone without having to leave the comfort of your home. Or
Mhm.
if you have a cell phone, you can travel and still date online. And you can spend time with people through the phone after you've met them. And
Mhm.
it saves you money because you don't have to go out, buy food, get dressed
Mhm.
up, spend money on clothing, perfume, and you know, guys getting all sharp and gas in your car. It saves money to go online. And you certainly can find many more options than if you go, I don't know, where do people go to find a partner? It's
I
usually
don't know.
at church, or they go to some club or a bar, which quite honestly is not the best location unless you're looking for someone who might have a drinking problem.
Mm. Mm.
Mm, yes. In fact, that's one of the reasons Black Love Partners was created, so that we can give Black people other options, safe places to find people. But online is a good way to start off for people who are just trying to figure out what's out there and get in a little practice with talking to someone, especially if it's been a while or you're new at it. So online dating has benefits.
So
Now,
are you, oh, I'm sorry. I was about to say,
go
are you an
ahead.
advocate for online dating?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, I recommended it probably long before it became popular. Back in the days when I was single, before computers were out, I had said that, boy, if there was a way to find somebody without having to leave the comfort of my home, it would be awesome. And once it became a reality, I recommended it to people all the time. In fact, I have a number of clients who have used online dating, found partners,
Mm.
and are happily connected with those partners to this day. So it can be very, very helpful because, as I said, you have a much wider choice with the
Okay.
online dating.
Well, I'm glad you stated that. You said that a few clients, are they clients with whom you've worked through Black Love Partners, or just clients that you've seen outside of Black Love Partners that have found
These were
partners through
people in
online dating?
my private
Okay.
practice, who
Okay.
I worked with to get them, as we say with Black Love Partners, relationship ready. And
Mm.
I think that I've been doing my practice much longer than Black Love Partners, but it was because of the experiences I had with my clients who were looking for love and having difficulty finding partners.
Sure.
And so I said, we've got to do something for our people.
So, that's one of the things I don't think I've ever asked you as it pertains to Black Love Partners. Is there like a barometer for age, or is anyone welcome?
Well, there's no age limits. It
Okay.
is about people who are looking for permanent relationships. So it's not a place for people who are just shopping for a sexual experience. It is designed to help people to find a life partner,
Partner.
people
Okay.
who are looking for love and want someone who's committed to them,
Mm-hmm.
because we have difficulty finding people for marriage
Mm-hmm.
versus just sex. You can always find somebody for sex. That's the easy thing to do.
How
But
about
somebody
that?
who can be committed and in a long-term relationship with you, that takes more effort. And quite honestly, most people haven't been taught how to be relationship ready, nor how to find someone who's relationship ready.
So, what does it mean to be relationship ready?
Mm, excellent question. It means that, as Black people, we all have baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to unpack that baggage, which is why therapy is so important, because it gives you a safe place to look at some of the things that have shaped you into who you are. And certainly, if you've had traumas, which most of us have, to be able to put those traumas into perspective so they don't disrupt a love relationship. Now,
Hmm.
there are different strategies to do that. Like I use both trauma narratives as well as eye movement desensitization, reprocessing strategies to help with trauma. But a lot of people don't even realize that their trauma is bothering their processes in developing healthy relationships. And I think what we generally find is that males are more reluctant to get help than females.
Mm.
And as a result, you can't really have a good relationship unless you have two healthy people. It only takes one to ruin a relationship, but it takes two to make the relationship work.
You just said a whole lot, Dr. Gooden. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Family, for those of you who have just joined us, well, welcome. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We're talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. And in this moment, we're talking about love. We're talking about being relationship ready We are talking about the pros and cons of online dating. But it's time for us to take just a short commercial break. But know that the phone lines are open and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. Stay with us, family, because we're coming right back.
Words of empowerment.
The one and only Saj Purple Blackwell, aka Purple Queen. My advice for all people, especially young people, is agape, love, to love humankind, to love God, to love through God. And if you love, that love will spread. And then people will start reciprocating that love, and then they'll start giving love. And that wave of love will transform the world. Agape.
This is Words of Joy and Empowerment on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Audio provided by Love Now Media. These words of joy and empowerment are brought to you by United Healthcare.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Off's Excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling. If it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Long nose, what's the word, boy? What's the word? What's the word?
WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We're talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden, and we're talking about love. Yes, we are. We're talking about a lot under the umbrella of love. We started the conversation talking about the pros and cons of online dating. Dr. Gooden was sharing with us some of the pros of online dating. We didn't get to the cons yet because I interrupted her, asking so many other questions. And I do have another one before we get to the cons. Dr. Gooden, you mentioned eye movement desensitization reprocessing. What is that exactly?
It is a therapy strategy that's used to help people deal with resolving their traumas. So rather than doing what we usually do is trauma narratives where you talk and talk and talk about the trauma until you don't feel the emotional impact. We'll shorten it, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, or what's called EMDR. What we do is you follow the fingers, and I do certain kinds of questions to help you to use your brain to do your own healing. So no medication, no tell me all the details, very little talking. Instead, it allows your brain to go in and do the healing. It's kind of like taking a chalkboard and erasing the chalkboard from both sides versus what normally happens, where maybe with trauma, you might feel a little bit better after maybe time, but there's
Mm.
always some residual on the sides that may impact you in your life. So this is designed and it was created and used effectively with military personnel who had severe trauma as a result of their military experiences. And I have found it in my practice to be tremendously helpful with people who've been victims of sexual abuse from childhood, males and females, as well as for things such as wanting to be more motivated to do things like exercise or to be more
Mm.
organized. And so it can be used for a variety of reasons.
Wow. Oh my goodness. It sounds like it's a very effective process, if you will,
Mhm.
especially since
Amazingly.
it's widely used.
Well,
So,
it's not as widely used as I would like to see it used, but that's because
okay.
the process of getting trained used to be restricted to non-blacks. Yeah.
Why was that?
It was the country club therapeutic technique that cost thousands of dollars to get the training. So it limited the number of people who could get into it who didn't have that kind of money up front.
Mm.
And quite honestly, the trainers weren't interested in training non-Caucasian therapists in this technique. So there are a couple of people who got the training and then have been dedicated to training melanic people, people of color, to provide this service. And it's growing, but it's been well established among the Caucasian, especially the Caucasian well-to-do, and even among the police force, and of course, the military.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yes,
I don't know
racism
why I'm
really still
surprised to hear. I'm always surprised, and I don't know why. In 2024, I don't even understand how I could be surprised by much of anything, but especially and particularly this subject matter. So, Dr. Gooden, you were sharing with us the pros of online dating. What would you say are some of the cons of online
Yeah.
dating?
And there are cons. And
Mm.
those cons, we'll use the term, they're cons. Some of the people who are on those dating sites are trying to convince you that they or he or she is someone he or she is not. And
Mm.
nowadays with technology, you can alter your appearance. You can, of course, lie about who you are. And so people may think that they're getting this person, but when you show up, you find out you have a totally different person than the one you were talking to on screen. Because, I've learned that there are techniques now that people can alter their appearance, even though it looks like it's on video and it should be accurate. So that's one of the big things. And people don't tend to know what questions to ask in order to screen out the wrong people and to screen in the right ones.
How about that? I wouldn't know what questions to ask. I definitely wouldn't know. I wouldn't know
Read
where to
my book.
begin. That's right. How about that?
Read my book. But it's not unusual. Most of us, I didn't know, and I wouldn't know, because where do we get taught? How
Mhm.
are we taught to pick a partner? We learn from our parents. If we saw bad examples in the home, then we have bad information. Or we learn from our friends, or maybe from our family. And then,
Mm.
of course, there's television, the media, which really shows us some bad examples. So we end up going in with what we have, which is usually distorted information or inaccurate. In fact, I saw a lady who was identified as an expert on relationships who actually recommended that people not have any criteria, just go out and date, be flexible. That is a mistake.
Please do. I'm curious to know. She just said, just go ahead,
Be
just go and.
flexible. Don't put too much work into trying to figure things out. Just go and it'll flow. That's not accurate. Just like the statement people say, opposites attract. They may
Yes.
attract, but they won't last, because you have to have things
Mm.
in common. You have to have similar values. And of course, if we don't ask enough questions, how will we know? We won't. So asking questions are important, but first you have to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you determine who's right for you. If you don't know who you are, if you can't figure out your values, if you don't know what you like and you don't like, then you'll accept somebody who's wrong for you, which is why Black people have the highest percentage of divorces and the lowest rate of marriages out of any ethnic group. Okay, we
I
have the
did
second
not
highest
know
divorce rate.
that. The second highest. Okay, so we have the second highest divorce rate.
Right. Native Americans, indigenous people have the highest divorce rate, but we're only 2 points behind them. So that tells you that one, we're not selecting people correctly. And then once we make those mistakes, we're getting out of the relationship. So most of us are not getting married. And Black women have the lowest rate of any ethnic group getting married. We don't tend to get married.
Is it? Do you think that's due to choice, our choice, or
Some of it
would you say
is.
it's some?
Some of it is choice. But I believe, from what I've seen in my 50 years of doing therapy, that a lot of it has to do with Black women have many societal disadvantages. And Black men do too, because there are stereotypes that have been created that say that Black women aren't beautiful, Black women aren't classy or sophisticated or what have you, that they're, that they're rude, disrespectful, and we can go through it. And a lot of males find that Black females have been trained through inappropriate societal information to be seeking somebody to pay their bills. And that's the criteria. Oh, you don't have money? I can't talk to you. So there are some disadvantages to the way we're being taught to select a man. And the same is true for men. A lot of Black men have been taught that the standard of beauty, and we kind of talked a little bit about this, is the person who looks more like a Caucasian. So the lighter you are, the straighter your hair, the thinner your lips, the pointier your nose, the more attractive you're seen as being. Now, Black women will tend to partner with Black men who don't look like that more often than Black men want to do it. And part of that has to do with many Black women in their households, they saw a dark-skinned father with a lighter-skinned mother. Now, that's not always the case, obviously. But because of racism, we've been taught that light is better than dark, which it is not. And that includes biologically. Dark-skinned people have benefits that light-skinned people don't have. And I tell people all the time, light-skinned people, including me, although I'm not all that light, but because of the ozone layer being depleted, light-skinned people will be dying as that ozone layer continues to be depleted. And dark-skinned people will survive. So picking a dark-skinned partner will help you and your children survive.
Wait, what? Wait, why is that? What is that?
Melanin protects you from the radiation, from the poisons that get through the ozone layer. Plus, melanin, which gives you your skin color, but it also colors your internal organs, is a protective substance. It's a magnificent substance that we have seen, and scientists such as Carol Barnes and Richard King, and one of my favorites, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, a psychiatrist, and Richard King is a psychiatrist as well, looked at melanin. And when you study melanin, what you learn is that dark skin, melanin, has abilities that you never hear about from Caucasian sources. But if you do your research, you'll learn that dark skin protects you. We always say, Black don't crack. That's because of melanin. So the more melanin you have, the younger you look, the longer you look young. but it also protects you from medical conditions that other people fall prey to. My father was dark. My mother was light. My father had 12 strokes, but he bounced back as though he had no strokes from most of them until it got really bad. And I tell people all the time, chitlins killed my father. Chitlins killed him because our arteries get clogged with those fatty foods.
Right.
And I had warned him. He had eaten some chitlins, had a stroke. I told him, don't eat any more. He ate some more, had another major stroke. And then after that, his arteries were so clogged that he kept having strokes after that.
Ooh.
But because of his melanin, I believe, and believe it or not, Caucasians have been studying melanin for many, many decades. And they have found the properties. That's why they created the melatonin pills you can take from melanin. But that melanin protects you and it links us with the creator. We have abilities that we don't know about or that we ignore because people haven't defined it. And I say to people, look at Black men and women playing sports such as basketball and how they jump up in the air and horizontally will dunk a ball or a football and jump the same kind of way. Scientifically, that's impossible according to physics, that anything that goes up comes right back down. But here, Black people are defying physics and are levitating. You won't hear other people say that, but if you talk to a real scientist, and I happen to live with two, so I know these things. They will tell you I'm not a real scientist. I'm a social scientist. They're hard scientists.
Okay.
So understanding physics and understanding what we're capable of doing, it's amazing. But no one is telling us about it. But people like, Carol Barnes and other chemists and physicists will tell you, if they've studied Black issues, that Black skin is beautiful. And the original people were Black, not light brown, Black, as in Black, which is why they called Egypt Kemet. It wasn't called Egypt, although Egypt is a newer name, because it was the land of the Blacks, or the burnt face. They were Black. Those are the people who built the pyramids, not light-skinned Arabs. It's a lie.
I've read that.
We've been taught to reject, and we've got to learn to embrace and love our dark skin, our tightly curled hair, our full lips.
We're still being taught. I know.
Yes, we are.
It pains me. But that is the reality, and it's a good thing that we are aware and we recognize that.
Yes.
Family, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome. We are talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden, who is, when I say sharing all kinds of pearls, you better have your pockets open so you can put these pearls in your pocket, okay? But she is sharing, as she always does, okay? We began the conversation talking about the pros of online dating, and then we broached the subject of the cons of online dating. But in between, when I tell you in between that sandwich was nothing but knowledge, as she always does. She always shares just such good knowledge with us. Family, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short commercial break. But I was sharing with you that you are always welcome to the conversation, and you know that you are. We always want you to participate. You know I encourage you to participate in the conversation. So in order for you to do so, you can either share a comment on our comment section on our socials, or you can give us a call. You can do that by dialing 215-634-8065. You can even call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. Whatever you do, though, family, stay with us because we're coming right back.
Stay connected on the go with the new and improved Word Radio app. Search Word Radio in your app store. Stream every show with increased clarity. Easily access Word TV, EcoWord, and Livelihood. Start or renew your 4-word membership and buy Word swag. Remember, Black Media Matters. Get the new and improved Word Radio app today. Available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Science is not an opinion. People come before pipelines. It's not too late to act on climate. At Earth Justice, this is what we believe. We're a national legal nonprofit fighting for these beliefs in court. Join us at earthjustice.org.
We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black talk media, WURD.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, progressive Black talk media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD with yours truly, Carol Riddick. We're talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. And we are talking about the pros and cons of online dating right now. But we have so many things about which to speak. And family, you know I'm all over the place. I am. But that's because there's so much to cover and so little time in which to cover it. But I'm doing my best. I promise you I am. I do want to share that Jay, hey there, beautiful. Jay is sharing that I need this conversation. Listen, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So glad you joined us, though, Jay. It's been a minute. Eric is joining us. Just Rick. He shares hello, entire WURD family, and a special hello and welcome to you, Dr. Gooden. I love your direct honesty and insight on these important topics. We can all learn a great deal from you, especially during these current times. Thank you so much for your contribution. Antoinette Farmer is joining us as well. She's sending peace and blessings to everybody. Heather Wilson is sending love to the entire Word family. And Malcolm shares, hence Michael Jordan and Dr. J levitating in response to Dr. Gooden's comment. Yes. And he shares that he is loving this segment so far. Just loving. Well, we all love Dr. Gooden. We do. No, Dr. Gooden was joining us for the first hour, and I've asked her if she could stay for a little longer. So she's obliged to stay as long as she can. So because of that, like I said, family, I'm all over the place and I have a ton of questions. So I wanted to share that with you before I go to the next question. So one of the things, before we go into the next topic, because we're going to talk as well about couples and abstinence. But before we go to that, Dr. Gooden, you made a comment about learned behavior. And I'm curious to know, we all have, well, I'd like to believe we all have discernment. How is it that we gravitate so strongly to learned behavior, or we follow learned behavior more than listening to discernment, our own discernment?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
And I believe the best answer is to say that learned behavior is learned because it's seen so frequently and it's repeated. The behaviors that are observed, it's not just once. You can certainly say to yourself, I'm not, for example, a good example might be if you grew up in a household with alcoholics, it is very likely that you're going to be an alcoholic because you've learned to be an alcoholic from your parents. And I find many people say, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to do this. But that's what they grew up seeing and they slip into that. Now, that's not everybody. but it frequently happens. Stop and ask yourself, were there things you saw at home or you experienced that you said, I'm never going to do that? And then you found yourself doing it too. And we can change, obviously. When I was being raised, my parents whipped me, okay? But I made a conscious decision that I would never hit my son, and I never did. And my son grew up to be a very well-mannered, loving, kind young man who you definitely don't want to mess with, but he never got hit, and he never hits his children. And that's because I made a conscious decision. I said to myself, I know my parents were taught to hit. They got hit growing up. I didn't like it. But I had to ask the question, if you love somebody, why on earth would you hit them? It makes no sense. But it comes from slavery experiences where if we didn't beat our children and beat them severely, the enslaver was very likely going to kill your child. And so you had to demonstrate that you were punishing and punishing in a severe way in order for the enslaver to leave your child alone. But we're not in that situation anymore. We've got to learn to let go of being slaves or enslaved people. And, you know, Harriet Tubman said she could have freed a lot more people had they just known that they were enslaved. And the problem is we don't realize that we have the power to do anything we want to do. We are the original people who built the pyramids, who created the sciences, who created medicine, I could just go on and on. We are the creators of all the science, the arts, etc. So if we did all that, wouldn't it make sense we can do it again? But we have to let go of our belief that we are inferior, that we can't, that we're not good enough, and that we don't deserve to be happy, productive, and healthy. We have to stop eating the things that are bad for us. We have to start exercising and take care of ourselves so we can levitate, okay?
So we can continue to levitate.
The original people, the Black people, ate healthy, lived healthy, got their rest. They spent their time developing their brains instead of allowing other things to put us to sleep, to sedate us. And we still do that. If we look at what people purchase their children for the holidays, very few people are buying books for their children or educational toys or instruments. They're buying them video games that are violent. They're buying them things that they can do that are fun and perhaps entertaining, but not educational. And that's the wrong way to train our children. We're already behind. So we have to teach our children how to move forward. I have a 1.5-year-old granddaughter who can count in Chinese, who can count her numbers and read her letters and reads her name, and a 4-year-old who doesn't only count and read Chinese characters, but Swahili, Spanish, French, Lakota, English, and signs. Why? Because that's what we do. That's what we spend our time on. I put on, Beano and Fino, and we know all these African countries, and they love it. I put on shows where they're learning how to sign. Their parents will provide them with the educational opportunities that will never get in school. Now, I don't believe in public school, to be quite honest. I homeschooled my oldest son, and he has a degree in physics, even though he was homeschooled. People say, oh, but you've got to socialize them. You can socialize your children better than anybody else. You put them with the people you want them to learn from instead of sending them off to school. And I know if you don't have other options, that's what we have to do. But I think Black people need to mandate that our churches start having schools for our children so that our children can learn Black history, can learn languages, learn cursive, because they're not teaching those things. Why? Because in public school, they do not want, especially Black children, to compete with their Caucasian children. So you go to the private Caucasian school, they're learning cursive. They still get gym and art and music, not our children. Okay?
Yeah, I believe that. Yes, I do. I absolutely do believe that. Dr. Gooden, if I might take one moment, I do want to share. Our family members are commenting, and I want to share their comments. Antoinette shares, it took me some time to recognize this very behavior. My mother is a narcissist. I look for ways to please her, which we know is not possible. I married my mother, someone who treated me the same way. I had to find the will to break this behavior, including therapy for myself and for my children. It was difficult, but I am healthier for breaking that cycle. Kudos to you. God bless you. God bless you, beautiful. Absolutely. Nicole P shares, good evening, love and life family. Welcome, Nicole. She shares, this conversation is right on time. Dr. Gooden is so on point. Thank you for that. Harold shares, I think some kids need a spanking and some don't. I am speaking for myself. I got spankings and I deserved every one of them. Harold, you know what? You are bad. And Eric is sharing, there are so many habits, good and bad, that many of us have experienced in our lives. We are only human beings in this vast, complicated, fast-moving world. How do we unsee, unlearn, and uplift ourselves to a proud potential? Thank you so much for that, Eric. Oh my goodness. Always, though, always our family members. So I'm so enjoying this conversation, and I do not want to pivot, but I do want to address the other topic that we had agreed to discuss, and that was about whether or not couples should abstain from sex prior to marriage. Before you dig deep into that, Dr. Ayo, how important to a relationship is sex?
Critical. But before I say all of that, let me just warn people about the dating process, because many times, most times, when people meet somebody they don't know, the first thing they want to do is go to dinner. I advise against that strongly. The first place you need to go is lunch or breakfast, where you have a short period of time. And if you decide this person isn't good for you, then you can go somewhere else to a meeting or whatever, versus at the end of dinner, you go home. And perhaps if this is a stalker, he can follow you to your home. And Black women have to stop seeing Black men as just meal tickets. They're not. They're people too. And we've got to learn to bring balance into relationships if we want to be successful in them. Okay, let me jump back to your other question now. Okay.
No, listen, I appreciate all of it.
Sex
Well,
is very important.
Well, before you do that, before you go there, because we're coming up on a commercial break, so I want to save this response because I don't want to interrupt you at all. Do we, family? We don't want to interrupt Dr. Gooden at all. But family, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Love and Life, right here on WURD with yours truly, Carol Riddick. We are talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden, and she is educating me, if not anyone else. I'm sure she's educating some others, but she's definitely educating me. You are invited to join the conversation. The phone lines are open, and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. We want you to join this conversation. We really do. When we come back, Dr. Gooden is going to talk about how important sex is in a relationship. You know, I'm anxious to hear this response. I know you are too. Stay with us because we're coming right back.
It's the WURD Hot 60. Hot 60. Here's the hottest 60 seconds you missed this week on on Reality Check.
There are people like Dr. Gay who are caught up in this conflict in ways that seem unprecedented. Again, we're looking at, as the professor of history at University of Penn said, in addressing Elizabeth McGill's resignation from UPenn, that this is about the future of universities and who has the right to freedom of speech and what kind of freedom of speech. And that should be something that we all look at and say, what does this mean for the future? What does this mean? Basically, I feel as though Dr. Gay has been targeted at this point, and maybe she did not address things in the way that she should have as a new president of a university. Elizabeth McGill was in her role much longer. However, if you were saying that these are university presidents who are upholding the policy as stated for their university, then that is how they're going to answer these questions. But more than that, they have been reduced down in hours of testimony to a soundbite.
And that's your hottest 60 seconds this week from Reality Check on WURD Progressive. Black Talk Media.
Happy New Year. Let's prioritize and take charge of our health this new year. We can do that by learning how to get the information we need from our healthcare providers and better navigating our healthcare systems. The Institute for Healthcare Improvement offers great tips to get the info you need. They recommend that every time you talk with a healthcare provider, you should ask 3 questions. 1, what is my main problem? 2, what do I need to do? 3, why is it important for me to do this? Everyone wants help with health information. You're not alone if you find information about your health or care confusing at times. Asking questions helps you understand how to stay well or to get better. Visit ihi.org/askme3 for more tips about how to best engage your healthcare provider. Penn Medicine's Contact Center provides health system navigation services to new and established patients who are seeking clinical care at Penn Medicine. Customer service representatives and registered nurses are available Monday through Friday. They help callers find an appropriate healthcare provider based on the caller's needs, symptoms, or diagnosis. They are familiar with the complete scope of Penn Medicine's clinical care, including physicians, departments, programs, centers, services, and locations. Call the Penn Medicine Contact Center today at 1-800-789-PENN. That's 1-800-789-PENN.
People say our country is facing polarization like never before. At Inform Your Community, we're on a mission to change that narrative. We believe that even in disagreement, we can find common ground and work towards solutions with respect. At Inform Your Community, we know the best way to talk about difficult topics is to talk about difficult topics. We're here to educate, bridge gaps, and encourage dialogue by providing engaging, welcoming, and meaningful events that discuss the timely civic issues that matter to you most. At informyourcommunity.org, we foster an environment of civility and respect. Here, we value productive dialogue over hostility and strive for understanding. To learn more about a movement that believes in the power of respectful discourse to heal our communities and address crucial issues that you care about, please visit informyourcommunity.org. We have a motto at Inform Your Community: civility, not hostility.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We are the home of progressive Black Talk Media. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life. As a matter of fact, the top of the second hour of Love and Life right here on WURD. We are joined with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. And before the break, Dr. Gooden was about to talk with us about how important sex is to a relationship.
Yes, sex is important to a relationship. And I think it's important to know that what you decide to do before you get married has to be your decision. And your decision needs to take into consideration a number of factors. First of all, I always ask people, are you ready for sex? Now, what does that mean? If I get pregnant, am I ready to have a baby? Or am I in a state now where if I chose to terminate the pregnancy, would that be a legal or illegal act? And how would I cope with that in my life? Because I deal with a lot of people who have made that decision, and unfortunately it causes trauma. So one of the other things you have to take into consideration is the diseases that are out there. If you get herpes, at least you don't die. And actually, my husband has a product that can help treat it. But
oh, wow.
If you have AIDS, then you're talking about the potential of once again, a life-threatening illness, although now the medications seem to be keeping people alive. So that's a good thing. But most people are uncomfortable asking a potential sexual partner to get tested, which means you're really playing Russian roulette. And I can say I've had clients who didn't tell their partners that they had an infection, such as herpes. And unfortunately, most people think, well, if they have it, they're going to tell me. Not the case. And especially, I used to be an AIDS educator. And one of the experiences that was shared with me by a number of people was that when you are infected, you become so angry that you want other people to be infected. So you will intentionally infect other people. And of course, the people with the highest rates of HIV and herpes and other sexually transmitted diseases are Black. And not just young Blacks who, feel, oh, it won't happen to them because you look like you're okay, but older Blacks are getting it because they're saying, well, what the heck, I'm going to die soon anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and have what I want. So there's a lack of real, let's say, clear thinking in the process of having sex. The other thing women need to consider is that when you talk to males, generally speaking, who are looking for a partner, are less likely to find you attractive if you have children. One child may be okay. But once you start talking about 2 or more children, most males don't want to marry a woman who has multiple children unless she has multiple millions of dollars. Okay? So women have to be more cautious than males, but males need to be cautious too, because there are women out there who will get pregnant intentionally just to hold on to you, even though it's not the right way to hold on to someone. So males have to be cautious and really think about whether or not, and I say there are a couple of questions you have to ask. Is this the person you would like to be the mother or father of your child? If you can't say yes, don't have sex with them, because there is no birth control method that is 100% sure. The other question is, if I had a child by this person, would I want my child to be just like that person? If you can't say yes, you shouldn't be having sex. Okay?
Wow.
So, I talk about these things in my book because I don't want people to continue making mistakes and ruining not only their lives, but potentially the lives of their children. Because if I'm angry with this man, then I take it out on the child that looks like him. Or for the males, they feel trapped and they don't want to take care of the child because they didn't plan to have a child. They were just having sex. So we have to be a little more mature in how we treat sex. Sex is wonderful. Sex is natural. But we have to think about what we're doing. Now, there are those who will tell you that being able to experience sex with your partner before you get married helps you to decide whether or not this is somebody who you could live with the rest of your life and have sex with. Okay? And that could well be true, although sometimes what we find is that people don't feel real comfortable talking about sex. They'll do it, but talking about it and finding out what people like, what their fantasies are, et cetera, isn't always something that's checked on, nor is their sexual identity. Nowadays, not back in my day, we need to ask, were you born a male or were you born a female?
How about
Okay,
that?
that's something new we haven't been taught to ask, but we can get surprises and not the kind of surprises we want if we don't ask the right questions. Have you been tested? When were you tested? But even that is not certain, because I could get tested today and be clear, and then have sex with somebody tomorrow and now be infected, and then meet you and say, well, yeah, I just got tested and I was fine. And I don't know that I'm infected because I'm not tested again.
How about that? How about that?
It's scary out there for people.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. With good reason.
Because I don't have to worry about that.
I know that's right. I know that's right. What I want to do right now.
To be married.
No. Good point. Family, I'm going to go to the phone lines. One of our family members has been waiting to join the conversation. Hello, and thank you so much for calling and for your patience. Thank you for waiting.
Good evening.
Well, Dr. Goodman, I would like to share with you about love and life. And here on Love and Life, Dr. Goodman, what we don't care about your money, we don't care about how you look, we don't care about any of those tangible things of life. Here on Love and Life, we are concerned about your mentality and your ability and try to help you. With people like yourself come on to make recommendations, like Dr. Z and people that have been on here. And this is why Love and Life is so significant. Here on Love and Life, our family here, and you heard somehow Cal gave numbers of people called in to respond to some of the things that you were saying. But here on Love and Life, we have a beautiful family. We have our number one lead caller. His name is Malcolm. And he opened up in his mind with these words. Malcolm opened up that it is better to light one little candle than to curse the dark. And if everyone lit that one little candle, it would be a better light. A better light in their life. And the significance of loving life, it takes away from all the tedious things of life that's going on to this world. And loving life here, with our family here, we want to try to help to direct you with the professional people like you and guide you into your relationship. And in these relationships, I'm 80 years of age, man. And in your relationship, it's not the color of your skin, beloved. I know what Dr. Weldon Crest talked about that. It is the content of your character. And you females, in particular, you mentioned about your husband. The females must make themselves precious below the navel button. It comes with the mentality. And when that female is in order, love her. How can you love a man or lie down with them if you don't love yourself? And the females that bring that type of spirit, then the man, the divine order, will guide you and have you say, I'm not going to accept this. People don't court anymore. That's something that's missing today. It was a very significant thing. You can never people have been married 40 years and all that, and then they come and find out some stuff. But it's about you, the female, and the man. It doesn't take money. It's not the sex. What happened when that mechanism is not working anymore? Will you still comfort that person? Will you care for him? Myself, doctor, I like to use this word. I don't like to use love. I know it's a thin line between caring and love. Because when you care for someone, that's the most crucial time that I think a man should be a lover into his companion life. A female come to her and revive her soul again. The body it deteriorates in time. Anytime someone can be with them and care for them. I know a situation where a guy never went to bed with the woman. He cared for her, and her crucial life, he treated her nice because she demanded that. And that's why the system, Yaku, this system, have messed up talking about our females, calling them bees and all this other stuff. How can she be that? Anytime the Almighty God has blessed you to be able to hold a body inside your body, bring that body forth into this world. How can she be weak? She's a precious soul. Not her beautiful makeup or anything like that. When she demands, I'm going to go with this. You remember the movie and they took it all? Beauty and the Beast. Look at that woman. She felt and she cared for that man, not because of the shape of his face, because he was in divine order. The divineness in her acknowledged the divineness in him. Oh, the material things of life, in your relationship. How are you treating your woman? How are you allowing your woman to treat you? I'm a very intuitive man, extremely intuitive. And when you are intuitive, you won't judge no one. You will come out of that if it's not for the better good of your life. Because if your life is no good, then her life will not be no good, and his life will be no good. It's about choice. And I thank you, Dr. Goodman. Continue to do that. And some of the things what you said, Kristen Weldon said, ma'am, I know about her. Yes, the genealogy, they talk about pigmentation. I look at this thing. People, black people, strong, all this stuff. We know the melanin speaks for itself. But what about other people that don't have the melanin? I'm not talking about Caucasian people. They are significant. They did it down south. Light-skinned people put bags on and make some sort of judgment based on the color. It is the content. And for you to enjoy life, ma'am, and I hope your husband, he embrace you. Years to come, and have you go back into a fetus mode. What a wonderful thing to be a comforter, not a sex partner. These things deteriorate. And then when they look at older people, some older people are in good condition, high energy and all that. So I say this to you, Dr. Goodman. I know that you bring people in. The most important thing you can tell any one of your visitors, consider this. Get them to Mr. Jonathan. You should be on What's Your Name show. You should come on Carol Show, Nick. Let me tell you this story. This beautiful, educated woman was on there talking one night, and she was speaking, and Jonathan can be a very human-side guy. And Jonathan realized the significance of what that lady was saying. He humbled himself, listened at her, and before the program got off, the lady, it was a difference. All she needed to hear somebody, hear this man talking to her. That's so important. The communication is very important, not how beautiful that you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to the next line. Another one of our family members has been waiting to join the conversation. Thank you so much for your patience and for calling.
Man, when you talk about words of passion, that brother right there, you get past the needle.
Oh my goodness.
I would like to talk about, okay, we're talking about sex. Now, kissing. I don't want to take too long. I was 18 years old. I dated this lady, young lady, and we would kiss, and she was, just slobber all in my face. I'm just taking it to another topic. That turned me off. And years later, something about the kiss. I don't know what it is. Doc, help me out.
Okay. One of the things that is very important, obvious, is that you're compatible with your partner. And that's why before there's anything physical, people need to talk. People need to, first of all, know what they like and what they don't like. And then they have to find out if the person to whom you're speaking is on the same plane with you. If they're not, then you end that and you seek it elsewhere. So whether it's how someone kisses you, holds you, talks to you, smells, or thinks, it has to be something that's compatible with who you are. That's why talking is so important. But as I said, you first have to know who you are so that you can find out if that person is a kindred spirit. And kindred spirits are people who have similar interests, similar beliefs, who may even come from your neighborhood, but not necessarily. But you have to look at a variety of things. And it's not a quick 5, 10, 20, 30-minute call. It's going to take some time. I had another psychologist friend who said it actually takes 4 seasons. And that means summer, fall, winter, and spring. You need to know somebody over a period of time. But nowadays, everything is on the microwave tip. It's like, I talked to you, I saw you, I had sex with you, and now I'm done because it wasn't good. It can't be about sex. That should not be, because we have too many unmarried females with children. And we have to change that dynamic. We need to build strong Black families. It takes a strong Black man and a strong Black woman to make a Black family. And I'm all about the Black family. I want to see Black men and Black women come together and make happy families. And you can't do that if you don't have criteria, if you don't, first of all, make sure you are right. If you're not coming right, then you're not going to have the right relationship. And we're so damaged as a people. We need therapy. And men are the last to get therapy when they need it, just like women do. So thank you for your comment. I'm going to stop there.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. Dr. Gooden, thank you. Thank you. Family, it's almost time for us to take another commercial break. But before we do, Dr. Gooden and I were having a conversation before tonight's episode, and I shared a clip with her. And I would love to share that clip with all of you as we dissect it, and Dr. Gooden gives us her opinion on it. I'm so interested in watching this clip with all of you, and interested in knowing what you think and how you feel. For those of you who have just joined us, welcome. You are so welcome. You're tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We are talking about love and life. And who better with whom to talk about it than Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. Yes, yes, yes. She is our love doctor. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I'm so grateful to have her here with us tonight. We don't get to visit with her often because she's so busy. I love it. We all need her. That's what it is. But family, as I was sharing, we're going to take a short commercial break. Know that the phone lines are still open. And feel free to continue to comment on our socials. We are jumping into this video clip as soon as we come back. Stay with us.
Stand with Word Radio as we continue to provide dynamic, progressive programming to inform and empower our people. We're living in unprecedented times, and we must stand together to protect and preserve Black Talk Media. Become a Forward member with the annual membership price of just $90 or a digital member starting at just $5 per month. If you're already a Forward member, sign up, family member, or friend to help us continue making history. Start or renew your Forward membership today. Visit wordradio.com/forward or wordradio.com/membership.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-932-1745. 800-932-1745. 800-932-1745. That's 800-932-1745.
Hi, Grandma. Can Nina come over for dinner?
Sure. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
If anyone ever does, I want you to say, no, I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble.
I promise, Grandma.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice.
Join WURD in partnership with Global Citizen and the Greater Philadelphia Martin Luther King Day of Service for the largest King Day of Service event in the nation as we broadcast live from Girard College Armory on Monday, January 15th, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Solomon Jones will be your host for the signature broadcast event featuring the voices of special guests from all sectors of government and business. You'll also hear information and solutions that impact our communities and much, much more. Join us on site or on air. Keep it locked right here on WURD Radio for more information on the Martin Luther King Day of Service, Monday, January 15th, beginning at 7 a.m.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We are talking with Dr. Ayo Maria Gooden. And before the break, I was sharing with you that we had a brief conversation before tonight's episode about something that's taking place in the news right now. But I thought it would be great to introduce into our conversation tonight as we are approaching the celebration, number one, of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but also because we're talking about relationships and being relationship ready. And we're talking about so many things as it pertains to love, life, relationships and such. So I was sharing that I'm going to share this clip with you, and let me prep it. Here it comes.
Just sat down for his first interview since being convicted of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Now he's receiving a lot of backlash after making comparisons to his new girlfriend and a civil rights legend. Take a listen to it.
She's an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta, you know?
Good day. Major says his girlfriend Megan Good has been holding him down like Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King's wife. Now, this isn't the first time he's made reference to her when speaking about the type of woman he wants. Now, the daughter of the civil rights couple, Bernice King, is weighing in. She tweeted this message saying, "My mother wasn't a prop. She was a peace advocate well before she met my father." She goes on to say, "Please understand my mama was a force." Now, while Bernice did not mention Majors by name because she didn't need to, everyone knew what she was referring to. You can watch the full interview right now on the ABC News website.
Family. That was the clip about which Dr. Gooden and I spoke just before the show. And I was curious to know Dr. Gooden's opinion because as you may be aware, if you're not aware, I'm going to share. Prior to, well, actually, this is the second time, I believe, that he's made this comment or reference to Coretta Scott King, to Coretta Scott King. The first time he spoke about his prior girlfriend, who was a Caucasian woman, and he shared that he would like for her to be more like, he would have liked for her to be more like Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama. And so now this is the second time he is making a reference to Coretta Scott King, but now he's dating a Black woman. So Dr. Gooden, I invite you to share with us your thoughts.
You know, Ms. Riddick, I'm wondering if the audience would like to comment first, because I know I can talk about this and we could spend the day, but I would love to hear what the family thinks about it before I make a comment.
I would love. So family, did you hear that? You heard that. Dr. Gooden and I are inviting you to this conversation. I think it's an important one. I think it's a really, really, really important conversation to have. For those of you who would like to call in, the number to dial is 215-634-8065. You can even call toll free. That number is 1-866-361-0900. Also, you know that you can feel free to comment on our socials. Just talk with us, family. Let us know what you're thinking and how you feel. Miss Rosalind shares, I didn't know his wife was white. Well, she was his ex-girlfriend. She is actually the woman with whom he had the altercation and the reason why he had to go to court. The young woman that he dated prior to dating Megan Good. So yes, family, talk with us. Talk with us. Talk with us. Let us know. I am waiting to hear what you think and how you feel, or whether you care one way or the other. I'm interested in knowing that too. You may say, well, I don't really care, but I'd like to know. Nick, I'm going to invite you to this conversation as a young man. I would like to know if you have any thoughts, and you can tell me, Carol, I'd rather not talk about this. You know, you can tell me, I don't mind, but I am interested in knowing what you think and how you feel.
Yeah. So about Jonathan Majors, I have to say, I feel like I'm not quite sure where his head is at, and I'm not sure why this is his go-to thing to say about the women in his life that he's interested in. I think it's it's a silly thing to say, and it's a little bit insensitive given Martin Luther King Day is kind of around the corner here. And I'm not sure what is making him think that. I mean, I understand what he's saying. He wants somebody to hold him down and to be with him through thick and thin, like Martin Luther King's wife. Nothing wrong with that. However, the first person that he said this about publicly was the woman that he got in trouble with just a couple months prior, whose name is escaping me at the moment. I'm sorry.
Me too.
Yeah, and so now he's with Megan Good, and he's saying that she's holding him down. She's sticking by him in this same kind of way. And I mean, I kind of have to agree with Martin Luther King's daughter, saying that, he's talking about her like she's a prop, like she's an accessory to who he is, and that just wasn't the reality. And so, unfortunately, I get what he's saying, but I don't know. I'm not liking who he's applying it to, and I don't know if he really understands what he means when he says that.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Nick. Thank you for obliging as well. One of our family members, Joanne. Hi there, beautiful. Joanne Kemp. She commented, I don't really think he meant any harm, but if he's choosing these people to date, he needs to know them better. He won't ever be able to turn her into Coretta Scott King. Also, what exemplary things does he do to demand such? Thank you for that. Antoinette Farmer. Hi there, beautiful. She shares Mrs. King was a multifaceted woman. Many times she was portrayed as the good preacher's wife, but not realizing the strength, integrity, and intellect. She was a woman that was a giant in her own right. So, what do we think? How do you feel? Do you think he meant no harm? Do you think that's just what, like Nick said, it's been his go-to. Like I said, it's been a go-to comment that he's made. He's made it a few different times. Do you think what do you think he means by that? What do you think he means? I agree with you, Nick, in saying that and it doesn't matter what any of us think. So I am clear on that. But as we're talking about it and we're sharing, I would have preferred for him to have said, I would love to have a woman that is supportive and stands by me. And if he would have expressed what the qualities were specifically that he prefers, I think that would have been admirable.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in now if there's no other comments, but I agree. I think that, that it's unfortunate that he used the name Coretta Scott King in reference to his former girlfriend or current, because once again, it has some implications. And I think that there's an issue that's not being addressed. One, this isn't his first encounter with a physical altercation. He needs therapy. I would love to be his psychologist. So if he hears this, give me a call. I'd like to work with you, because I see some deeper issues there that we frequently like to overlook in Black people. But I mentioned earlier, if you want to have a strong Black family, it takes two Black people to make a strong Black family. And he initially selected someone who was not Black. Now, I know a lot of people believe that love is blind, and that's the same kind of statement as opposites attract. It's not a good practice to select a person who is the opposite from you if you want the relationship to last. I also have found, in not only the research, but also in my practice, that we're seeing a deeper issue that I've talked about many times on this show and other places over my 50 years of experience. And that is that due to racism, we're taught that we're not as good as Caucasians and that white females are better than Black females. Now, Megan Good is a light Black female. Now, if in fact he had a more positive view of being Black, I would have loved, and I'm not saying you have to pick someone who's dark, but I think that he didn't pick anyone who's dark because he's dark. And most dark people try to lose their color by either staying out of the sun, which isn't going to work, by the way, whatever color you were born, that's your color, unless you use the chemicals that Michael used. But the fact that he continues to pick someone light, and I'm not saying that she has to be light, but obviously he prefers light partners. And that's usually because dark-skinned people don't want to be dark. They don't want their children to be dark. They don't want, they want somebody who is a trophy. And for some reason, well, I know why, because of racism, we've been taught that dark-skinned women are not trophies, that they're not beautiful, and that the most beautiful women are Caucasian, which is, of course, not true. I say that Caucasian females can be beautiful in their own right, but quite honestly, I'm prejudiced. I believe there's nobody more beautiful than Black people, and that's because I'm Black. And I don't have a problem saying that. I'm supposed to believe that Black people are the most beautiful, just like Caucasians are supposed to believe that Caucasians are the most beautiful. But the problem is that Black people have been taught that we're not, and we believe that most of the time. Some of us have been taught that it's not true, but that's like teaching a lion that a lion is ugly because it doesn't have stripes. It's not supposed to have stripes. I'm not supposed to look like a Caucasian. I don't have to look like a Caucasian to be beautiful. But we've been trained over the past 500-600 years that we've been associating with Caucasians that we're not as beautiful or desirable. And Black men, sad to say, have been damaged and frequently, not always, obviously, believe that. How often do you hear a Black man walk up to a dark-skinned Black woman with tightly curled hair, full lips, and broad nose and say, "Oh, you're beautiful." But let her look like Megan Good or a Caucasian female or, those kind of folks, and they'll get all sorts of compliments. We've been damaged to reject our own people and to embrace theirs as the standard of beauty. That's not healthy. I don't care what people tell you. It is not healthy. Of course, the reality is Black people look like every ethnic group on the planet because they all came from us, including Caucasians. So as my husband's mother said, you'd never have to find anybody who's non-Black because you have every look among Black people. So it speaks to your self-esteem and lack thereof. Because this society is so racist, it teaches us to reject being Black.
Oh, family, your comments are still being welcomed. We're talking right now about the video clip that we just watched, and it was Jonathan Majors making the comment about his current girlfriend, Megan Good, who has been holding him down like Coretta Scott King. And we're discussing it. We're just talking about it, just talking about it. Antoinette, she shares that she doesn't believe he meant any harm, but know what you want. Harold shares how he mentioned Mrs. King twice. No, actually, it was a question. How does he mention Mrs. King twice and he doesn't like Black women? Well, Dr. Gooden, did you want to make a...
Well, first of all, we have to understand that he has a publicist who tells him what to say, especially after being found guilty of assault. And so don't think that these people aren't being coached in what they should or should not say. Okay. If he doesn't go, now normally, and I don't know where this took place, but frequently assault cases are considered felonies, which mean you get prison time. So he's rich, he's famous, he's a wonderful actor. I loved him in, as I said, Lovecraft Country. I loved it.
I love that.
I think he's a gorgeous, handsome man. And no, I'm not a cougar, but I do appreciate fine brothers. Okay. I'm married to one, by the way.
I hear that.
I think that we need to understand that I'm looking at a deeper level of issue here. This is somebody who gets angry and fights women. That is an indication of a mental health problem. But I also know, because I've been studying Black mental health as I said, for over 50 years, that when you consistently reject dark-skinned Black women, and you're dark-skinned yourself, it's a statement. It is a statement of your self-esteem or lack thereof. And,
It's a big statement.
I know I'll hear a lot of disagreement with that, and that's okay. I'm fine with you disagreeing with me, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I wish I could speak to what his preference is. I only know of these two women, and unfortunately, the optics just didn't look good for him because he started dating Megan Good after the altercation that he had with his prior girlfriend. Family, it's time for us to take just a short commercial break, but I do see your comments, and when we come back from the break, we will go to your comments and share them. Stay with us because we're coming right back.
Want the latest in word swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. It's the shop tab on wordradio.com. You can look good and show the world that you're all about Black Talk Media.
April 5th was a breakthrough day.
Once there was a very silly bear.
During a well visit at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia Primary Care, Zach got his very first book.
Let's point to the bear.
And his mom got advice and support about the importance of reading to her 9-month-old.
Very good.
The Reach Out and Read program at CHOP has helped thousands of families open a whole new world for their children through early reading.
Right, he's right there.
Every day, Children's Hospital is making breakthroughs for kids. Some big, some small, all wondrous.
And they had a very good day.
Zach's breakthrough? Lots of happy endings that add up to a great beginning. What can we do for your child today? Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Breakthroughs every day. Yours begins at chop.edu.
Tune in to EcoWord Magazine, hosted by POC, the first Friday at 11 a.m. for the PA Lottery EcoWord Tip of the Day. Brought to you by PA Lottery, benefiting older Pennsylvanians every day.
Having low income can mean making tough choices. Choosing between paying for food or medication or a place to live is a reality for many people. Do you know someone who could use some extra help? Find out about the Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI, administered by Social Security. You could receive monthly SSI payments if your income and financial resources are low and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability or who is blind. SSI is money you can use to help pay for basic needs, like putting food on the table, keeping the lights on, paying the rent. It can mean new shoes for growing feet or help with medical needs. Call 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI to schedule an appointment or start to apply today. That's ssa.gov/SSI. This message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
It's too black, which means it's too strong.
We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black Talk Media, WURD.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. In these last few moments of tonight's episode, we are digging into the conversation about Jonathan Majors and his situation and the outcome of his court case and the statements that he has made repeatedly about wanting to date a woman who is like Coretta Scott King. Joanne asks, does he mean or does he think that Coretta Scott King was subservient I wonder that as well. I do wonder. I wonder that as well. There's no way to know. Eric shares, I don't believe he meant any harm in making the comparison, but I don't believe he understands the concept of apples and oranges or actress and icon. What he needs is Jesus therapy and prayer. You know what, Eric? And it's Rosalind. Hi there, beautiful. She shares, yes. Dr. Goodman, he needs therapy. Where the freak does he get off being disrespectful toward legends, first ladies, our ancestors, and a woman like Coretta Scott King and First Lady Mrs. Michelle Obama? He doesn't have the right. He was totally out of line and he was disrespectful. And she believes that no, she writes, I don't think any man should ever address a Black woman in their fashion. I don't care who they are. Malcolm shares, like Malcolm X famously said, who taught you to hate yourself? It's just, there's a lot to just break down here. Miss Rosalind shares also, and this is why I refuse to accept Caucasian man. And just because I'm light skinned and being called cracker by my own Black people most of my life, it hurts me deep down inside that I know for a fact that I am Black and I am beautiful and I am proud to be a Black light skinned person. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's right. We have to love ourselves. Yes. And we really don't. We really don't. We really don't. I am prayerful for him that he does. And see, my first thought was that he does get a clue, but he does. I do believe he does need some help. And family, and I'm not just saying this because he said it in conversation when he was talking about his prior girlfriend or Megan, just the statement itself. Like I was sharing, the statement alone, just the statement itself, just making any reference of one person to another. No. Be specific, be clear about what you want, state the qualities, because if that is in fact to what you're referring, then state that. State the qualities. Let's not say, comparing one person to another person. I don't think that's ever a good practice to compare one human being to another. I don't know. Dr. Gooden, you are the expert here, but I don't believe that's ever a good practice to compare one human being to another. I believe being clear about who you are and being clear about what you want. I think those are good places to start.
Well, I agree. I think that with some exceptions, if somebody said you should be more like Carol Riddick, I'd agree with them. And I'd say, yeah, you're right. Somebody who's doing something good for the community, you follow it up with what it is that you be sanctioning. But I don't think he knew what he was talking about. I believe he was just going along with what he was told to say. And it's unfortunate. But where do we learn our history? Where do we learn who we are? Where do we learn to love ourselves? And, whether you're light and get, bullied, or dark and get bullied, or whatever the issue is, it's all from racism. And we don't see how intricate racism is in shaping our choices, our anger, our joys, etc. We should be happy being Black. And yes, like I said, Blacks come in all shapes, all colors, all looks. But the point is that we have been taught that one look is better than the other, and to reject the dark-skinned people. Yes, dark-skinned people will give light-skinned people grief. Why? Because they envy light-skinned people, because they've been told that they're not attractive because they're dark.
Right.
But it's not true.
It is not true.
But that's what we've been taught as a people. But
I agree with that.
Not true. There's something we call reaction formation in psychology, and that is where somebody says you're ugly, but really they feel ugly. And that's why they say that about you. And
Mm-hmm.
Caucasians in particular say very nasty things about us and have taught us that we're ugly because we're dark, but they go and they try to get darker themselves and get suntanned. They'll say we're ugly, our hair is ugly, and they'll go and curl their hair. They say our
Right.
lips are too big, our butts are too big, and they go and put some silicone in them to pump them up.
I agree with that, Dr. Gooden. Everything. I agree with that. I do want to address the statement, the comment that you just made, and Nick has a comment to make as well. But when you were talking about if someone, hypothetically speaking, someone said to you, "I wish so and so was more like Carol Riddick," but you followed it with saying certain things.
Qualities.
Exactly. And that was to what I was saying, speaking when I was talking about
Absolutely.
Jonathan Majors. Even if he had led with, I wish she was, more. What he did say was holding him down. He did say, but that's so broad. We don't know. Like, one of our family members asked, did he mean she was subservient, or what did he mean by that? So I'm saying being specific about what it is you like or admire or appreciate about another human being when you make a statement like that. When you say, well, I wish they were more like so and so and so. I wish that they would blah, 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 blah. You name the individual qualities instead of making such a general and broad comparison. I think that's where you find the trouble when you do that. Nick, I know you did say that there was a caller that wanted to share some information about Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, they were basically saying how they felt like it was ridiculous to even bring in Martin Luther King and his family into such trivial mess. It's so beneath the family itself that it's like it really shouldn't even be brought up. And they had felt like there was just kind of always something when it comes to these black actors. Jonathan Majors is just the most recent case, but there's always something that some kind of issue with black actors, and he felt like it was like targeted pretty much.
Mm. Mm. That's a good point. Good point. Dr. Gooden, thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. And thank you to the caller that shared the information and the opinion. It's welcome. It's so welcome. Dr. Gooden, I just love you to pieces. And I so appreciate you coming and educating us and sharing again your knowledge, your attention, your spirit, your intention, your information, your education, just everything. It's so appreciated. And I do hope that you will come back to visit with us sooner as opposed to later, because I love our conversations. And especially because well, you know why, family, and you know why too. I could sit here and talk for hours about why I love talking with you and listening to you. I could listen to you talk for hours, but but I do thank you so much, as always, for just coming to share with us. That's love right there at its core. That is love. So I love how you love us. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you, and I love how you love not only me, but the WURD family. And I appreciate all of you. And I am here to serve. That's what I do.
Oh, before we go, could you please tell our family members the name of your book?
Oh, I can do better than that. I can show it to you.
Ooh, yes, 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 yes,
It's a
yes.
single bracelet does not jingle, which is a African proverb, but it is a book about love relationships, how to pick the right one, how to have a happy, long-lasting love relationship, and how to end those relationships that are not good for you because you deserve better.
Oh, we have one more caller. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see that. One more caller, one of our family members. Hi there. Thank you for calling.
Hi, this is Wanda. Happy New Year to the both of you. I just want to share something poetically to wrap up what you all said. The best person to be is the one that I am. No matter how hard I try, I can only do what I can. Why does everyone want you to be what they want you to be? Every day I thank God for you letting me be me. Yes, it matters not what I do. It matters not what I say. You respect me for who I am. You pray with me from day to day. It's good to be free from ridicule and yes, free from dismay. When you are free in spirit, little tends to get in your way. If it were not for people like you, Doctor, and Carol, with the support that you give, my life would be so much more complicated or harder to live. There are few like you in which I can call on for help. Well, now take the time to thank you for letting me be myself. So if you want to be a friend to anyone by any means, let them be themselves. Do not insult their self-esteem. They will appreciate you more for what you try to do. Well, now that I can be me, I want you to always be you. And that's the bottom line. We need to love everyone, accept everyone for who we are, but know who we are and learn. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sick, but I had to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. It
brilliant.
was absolutely, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Thank you so much. Thank you for that love. Family, praise God from whom all blessings flow. As we wrap tonight's episode, thank you so much, Dr. Gooden, once again, for
Thank
just
you for
sharing
inviting
time.
me.
Energy, always open invitation, knowledge, spirit, space with us. Once again, to our love bugs who are celebrating birthdays, happy birthday to you. To the entire Word family, especially Nick and Niall, thank you for all that you do. Just family, remember that we're all in this together, but be good to you, but be so good to those around you. Please have a great rest of your night, family, and be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 till 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Love and Life right here on WURD. I love you, but God loves you so much more. You hear me? Have a good night, family. See you next time.
Thank you.